Good morning, Vic. I have two for you. The first one is what's your initial reaction to having a game postponed and then having to play 12 straight weeks?
Well, initially, I knew it was a possibility. Um, it's just part of the COVID season here that we're playing this season within, that there's going to be adjustments that have to be made. They're going to happen late. They're going to happen when you might not be prepared. I was prepared for this, and we're just going to roll with the punches and adjust. I said my initial message to the team all the way back in training camp was this was going to be an improvise and adjust season, and we're being called on to improvise and adjust, and we'll do that.
As a follow-up, has the league told you definitely Patriots next week, and then when do you play the Chargers and Dolphins?
They haven't definitely said anything yet. They've discussed some potential scenarios. I think those scenarios will get locked in here in the next day or two based upon what happens the rest of this weekend around the NFL. But there's been nothing concrete at this point.
Next one, Mike Kliss.
Yeah, Coach, I was wondering, you've always kind of maintained this, we got to adjust type of attitude and relayed that to the team. But do you have any thoughts on, how serious this is, the league, as far as the virus pandemic it's going through now? What do you think of the bubble? Maybe putting everyone in a bubble for a while, maybe postponing a week of the games to reassess everything that's going on. Your thoughts in that regard?
I really don't think in those terms. The one good thing that I think's come out of this whole ordeal is the NFL and the NFLPA are working hand in hand, and they're working together on this. So I trust anything and everything that comes out of the league office, because I know the Players Association is involved with it and giving them their blessing. So we have both sides of the table here working together, and however it turns out, it turns out. And I'm fully prepared to react and improvise no matter what happens. And in a weird way, I'm kind of happy to see some of this stuff happen, because you see who the whiners are, and who can't handle adversity. And I'm going to try hard that the Denver Broncos don't fall into any of those categories.
Next to Arnie, then Brandon. Go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, Vic, I know you've talked about, this having to be, this 2020 season is this weird thing and everybody has to be able to adjust. But, football teams are creatures of habit, and there's a very regimented schedule that these guys coaches and players have grown up with. What do you do to keep that uncertainty from being a detriment, like when something like this does, rear its ugly head and you do have to have some adjustments?
Yeah, I think that's all true. You make good points. But I also think professional athletes and professional football players in particular handle adversity very well. And when the schedule has to change, the routine has to change, they all take a deep breath, take a sigh, analyze it, and we move on. And we all do like our routines, me being one of them. Most coaches, most players like the routine. They like to know what's happening weeks in advance, but that's not going to be the case this year. And I think we've all accepted that. And in the long run, although it's going to be an inconvenience and rocky along the way, we'll all be better off for it.
Next one, Werner Cristal.
Coach, not accusing your players of whining or bitching, but some have certainly complained a little on Twitter or that it's a little unfair. I'm curious, what was your message to the team, and how did they react when you talked to them and told them about the game being moved?
Well, all this stuff is going to seem unfair when you're initially hit with it. We've prepared for a game, and the game first got moved one day, and now it's getting moved totally. It's going to seem unfair, and you're going to ask, why are we doing this? And But my message to them and to anybody is, we were inconvenienced by this, but it very easily could have been flipped around to where we had the positive test and the Patriots were inconvenienced by it. So I'm happy that the positive tests weren't in our building, but I'm under no illusion that at some point we might have a positive test or two and be the cause of a game getting moved down the road. So we're all in this together. The entire league is. Yeah, we compete like hell on Sundays to beat each other, but ultimately we're all in this thing together. Doesn't matter who's at fault or who had the positive test. We all just have to deal with it.
Next one, Mark Kizel.
You got me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Well, good morning. I just want to let you know it's a beautiful day in New England here. When did you learn that the game was moved? I mean, was it last night, this morning? And I guess looking at a positive, any relief that they did postpone it again and you didn't get on a plane and you're not here like I am?
Yeah. I was told of this possibility. It possibly could have happened 2 days ago. But under that scenario, we would have already been in New England and found out. So we did come out on the good end of that equation in that we hadn't boarded the plane yet. So we dodged that bullet. I found out this morning, I don't know, roughly about 6:45 a.m., 7 o'clock a.m., something around there. I got a call from the league, and they told me what was going on.
Football coach, being a football coach, were you already awake at 6:45?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was already here in the building.
Gotcha.
Next one, Eric DeLalla.
Coach, two for you. One, you mentioned that there's a chance that there could be positive tests for you guys, but what can you say about the job your team has done avoiding that so far? And then secondly, do you have to adjust the practice schedule this week in terms of how much contact there is or how much you guys do, given that you just practiced for a week without a game?
Yeah, first part of your question, I think our players have done great. They've been cooperative. It's been an inconvenience for everybody. And sometimes what we're asking them to do or what not to do seems trivial and seems unnecessary. But when you're dealing with what we're dealing with, you have to go to those extremes. And those guys have accepted it, and moved on. And knock on wood, up to this point, we've been free of the virus in this building. There's no guarantee that we'll be able to keep that streak going, but we're going to try like hell too. As far as practice next week, we gave the players off today after we met with them. We're going to give them tomorrow and Tuesday off. And then I haven't decided exactly yet how practice will be next week starting on Wednesday. I'm undecided at this point. Get some more facts in hand, and by Wednesday we'll let them know.
Final two, Troy, then Andrew Mason. Go ahead, Troy.
I mean, from a football standpoint, since the other questions have been asked, Coach, does this give you more optimism that Drew Lock would be available to play on Sunday with an additional week? And how does he look? Where would you assess him after a week of watching him?
I think he's progressing well. I don't think he would have played if we had played tomorrow, although I do think in some ways he could have. The extra week now will factor into that decision moving forward, but we'll see. We didn't give him many reps with the first team offense this past week. We'll see how he progresses these next 72 hours, how much better he gets, and go from there. But we'll see. All the other sports leagues have gone through these trials and tribulations during their seasons. They've all crowned their champions or are about to. What makes it harder for us compared to baseball is, we can't go and play double headers, and we can't make a 9-inning game, a 7-inning game, but we'll get through it.
Final one, Andrew Mason.
Yeah, and kind of in regards to that, having this game postponed and having the stuff in Tennessee, is there going to come a point at which the NFL should think about a stronger bubble? And in your opinion, what would that point be?
Well, whatever they decide. And again, what I like about it, that decision is being made together between the league and the union. And whatever they decide along those lines, I'm all for.